Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and we finally have the patch notes for the Storm mid-month tier 3 update, including a uniform, including a bunch of events, including an all uniform sale. So we'll get into that after we just discuss briefly. We're going to sort of jump around. We're going to discuss briefly when this update is going to land, and then everything else, and then back to Storm because it's the most important thing here. So with the update, the actual rollout of tier 3 Storm, it's unclear whether the uniform is going to pop up right away. It seems like the uniform is going to pop up right away in the shop. You'll be able to purchase her and test her out at tier 2 if you want, and then the tier 3 will be in waves, but it may not be. We'll have to see. Some parts of this update or some parts of these events are definitely happening at the daily reset in just a few short hours. But yes, the rollout for this part of the update is definitely going to happen at night, so 10 p.m. Eastern, which is pretty standard. Same thing as it was for Scarlet Witch, Silver Surfer, yada yada yada, all those characters. So we have the new uniform for Storm, huge changes there, and then we have the new tier 3 animation for Storm as well. Now, some people have already begun complaining, as we know in the Marvel Future Fight community. There's definitely a subset of players who just love to complain about every little thing. So we'll get into detail about that. But first, I do need to highlight the Storm update event. So these things, for sure, maybe not the uniform, maybe not the tier 3, but these events are for sure happening at the daily reset. And I honestly can say I'm about as hype for Storm as I am for these events, because among these events, well, the very first one is an all uniform sale. Yes, every single uniform, all uniforms. We get 1 week of all uniforms on sale for 40%. Now, of course, certain uniforms, so Cable, Summer Days, Enchantress Summer Days, Gwenpool and Deadpool Holiday Party or whatever, those are not on sale. And then Captain Marvel Secret Wars, those 5 uniforms are not on sale. And the Black Panther Extreme Pack is not going to be discounted. It's always discounted at 3,300. I hate to bring up the Black Panther Extreme Pack because we're hoping, you know, maybe on a chance that Netmarble will do some sort of commemoration for Chadwick Boseman. But yeah, just want to make that clear. This is just your regular all uniform sale, but I will be picking up Star-Lord's uniform, and maybe I'll try to put together a ranking of like the top 15 or top 20 uniforms you want to be looking to buy if you don't have them. Let me know in the comments down below if you want to see that, or maybe smash the like video if you want to see that video for like a ranking of like the 25 best uniforms in the game. Anywho, we also have an XMen World Boss. So this is like the Dimension Rift World Boss. You'll be able to play 3 times per day for 20 energy, and you'll be able to get a bunch of XMen materials in addition to gold, which is kind of nice, so you can rank up your Storm faster or other mutants that you're working on. We also have a gold special store. Again, if you have tons of gold, millions of gold, you can go ahead and gamble on this special gold chest. Otherwise, the only thing you want to purchase from here, besides the gold chest, is the energy. Just grab the energy and go. The chest can contain some booby prizes, but it can also contain some pretty good prizes, like the tier 3 materials. Usually about once or twice per event, I get tier 3 materials. So that can sort of tell you the chance to get it if you're opening up 30 chests per day, and this is available for 5 days. So whatever, I open 150 chests. And I get this about once or twice. Yeah, it's pretty low, but for someone who has over 350 million gold check, wave check, vibe check, I can afford it. Now, we have a crystal giveaway, or not crystal. I wish it was a crystal giveaway. Apologies for people that were listening and not watching. I did not mean to give you a heart attack. Emkron crystal and Phoenix feather giveaway. I have to be very careful not to just say crystal giveaway because that's highly misleading. I apologize. And then we have double bios. So this is really important, guys. I don't really highlight this enough in my videos, but you really need to pay attention. The dates on these are not all the same. You can see that, you know, it goes Storm until the 3rd of September. Then from the 3rd of September to the 6th, it's Rogue. So it sort of rotates between the 4 X-Men from the tracking mission. So what that means is when you go to the Epic Quest, for those days, you're going to get double the bios. Now, you already sort of get a lot of bios from these because for 40 energy, it's not quite as good as the new story mode. It's not quite as good as World Boss Invasion if you're very lucky. You get a lot of like high colored chests, but it's so easy to farm. I always farm these at night before I go to sleep. I just go ahead and clear ticket them each 10 times. You get between 10 and 15 bios every single time. Really, really good source of biometrics. I always try to clear this out. You can see I've already cleared this out for the day. You should definitely be doing that, especially when there's a chance up event. Also, the chance up event icon, it's pretty hard to miss, but it will appear up here in the corner, in the top left corner, with these other identifiers here and these other sort of bonuses that you have going, like a Stark Stash or whatever. So just keep that in mind and play those. Oh, whoops, that's the next part of the video. Play those to get those extra bios. And then we have a character ranking event. Sadly, Gorgon and Inferno are part of the ranking event. They didn't get uniforms, Netmarble. You didn't do anything for these boys, for these salty boys. So yeah, I'm a little bit confused about that. But anyways, back to Storm. So Storm is causing a SHIT storm because people are jumping to negative conclusions based on her new uniform in tier 3. So let's briefly recap here. Her tier 3 skill, Judgment of Goddess, or Goddess Judgment, looks pretty cool. Some people have pointed out that it looks very similar to Sharon Rogers' tier 3 animation, Cyclops' tier 3 animation, and Black Bolt's tier 3 animation. And yeah, you know what? Those people are right. However, I have to point out, it's impossible for them to make every single tier 3 skill 100% unique. There's only so many camera angles, there's only so many different abilities they can do, and the game files can only get so large. So I could be wrong on this, but my guess would be if they sort of copy and paste the general movement of the tier 3, maybe it saves them. I mean, of course it saves them time. They don't have to animate and rig up an entirely new set of movements for the character, but they probably still have to go in and adjust things because, for example, if you look at this animation, Cyclops definitely does not have all that lightning, neither does Black Bolt or Sharon Rogers, and they don't have those I don't know what those called, wing flaps, the little wings that Storm has, and those things are moving as though there's wind around, right? So they did have to do some work here, but it definitely saves them some work. Maybe it saves us some size on the game files. The game's already like well over a gig in size, so you never know. But yeah, it's eventually gonna happen, guys. It's not a big deal. I don't really care that much. I care more about the balance of the game and that game modes are fun. You know, not every, you know, with over 200 characters, you're going to get repeats in skill animations. I used to think it was a big deal, but I've kind of, you know, moved past that personally. Anywho, people are also upset, believe it or not, that the effect on the tier 3 is pretty small. So it's got a stun, which is whatever. It's got 40% ignore defense for 11 seconds, which is negligible. You shouldn't need this. It's got 40% ignore dodge for 11 seconds, which is nice, and it's got 7 seconds of invincibility. But that's it. Now, I will say that this is the most plain tier 3 skill we've ever had. It doesn't have penetration. It doesn't have any buffs. It doesn't have, you know, it doesn't have any other effects that you might see on a skill. And then even the effects here, you know, some tier 3 skills have like 4 or 5 effects just at the very top. So if you take, for example, Silver Surfer's tier 3 or hers doesn't have that many effects actually, but I guess Odin's or Silver Surfer's has lots of effects. Yeah, you can see there it's got stun, freeze, and silence for 2 seconds right off the bat. His has stun and silence. So yeah, you can definitely argue that her tier 3 skill does not have that many effects, but that's okay. Let's go take a look at what they did to her uniform, because her uniform is insane. So she's got the mohawk. She's got the lightning earrings. This is really cool. So we're getting the uniform on sale. Thankfully, it's not one of this, you know, it's not this cable BS where it's not on sale. So that's cool. They're changing her tier 2 passive to be 50-50 skill damage bonus damage. Now that is a massive bump over what she had now, which was 35-15. So her skill damage is going up 15%. Her bonus damage is going up 35%. That's bonkers. Now, she is losing the accumulation, which is what people are going to point to immediately. So here, let's talk about that quickly. So the accumulation that she had before, or the accumulation that she has now, is not very good. Because, as you can see, I tried her on level 60, and she could barely beat Ebony. So obviously, that accumulation is not really doing that much for her damage, and it's permanent accumulation. It's not a buff that can go away. It's permanent accumulation, but it's just not very good. It's 6%. And it's 0.6% energy attack increase. So it only bumps her energy attack by 36% at maximum power, which is just not very good. It just turns out that it's just not very good. So yeah, that's why you don't see this Storm, you know, going crazy berserk and mowing down enemies. So let's take a look at her new accumulation. Her new accumulation is on her ult. So this is a bit worse. I mean, this is obviously worse for players who are going to purchase this uniform and not tier 3 Storm. but it does mean that the character will get even stronger when she does get the tier 3. This is an interesting way of doing character buffs and character reworks. I'm not sure if I like it yet or not, but I'm not going to jump to conclusions and say that it's bad. But they are reworking her entire kit. They're reworking everything except her leadership. So all 5 skills and both tier 2 passive, both tier 2 and 4-star passive. So you can't really say that the value of this uniform is bad unless you tier 3 Storm, because some characters get 1 skill change and a tier 3, right? Winter Soldier didn't even get a tier 3. He just got, or didn't even get a uniform. He just got the tier 3. So no. But yeah, anywho, when she uses her ultimate, she gets 11 seconds of accumulation, and it's 10% of true damage instead of 6, and it's a 1% increase instead of 0.6. That's bonkers. That's really, really high, and it's for 11 seconds. Now, 11 seconds is not going to cover the entire time from when you cast her tier 3 to the next tier 3, but now it sort of makes more sense why her tier 3 has such a short animation, right? Because you want to get back to doing her other skills to rack up that accumulation and to do bonkers damage. And it's got a lot of after effects. So if you can cancel this, let's say as soon as she sort of strikes down and still get that damage, maybe it'll synergize really, really well with this accumulation. Now, on top of this accumulation, Storm's got some new moves. So let's check this out. Her new 4-star passive is a support buff for all allies, humans or not human. Well, humans or X-Men, mutants, Inhumans, whatever, heroes, villains, all allies. 35% increase elemental damage. That's so much better than her old passive. Her old passive was 50% chance to become immune to lightning damage, which is pointless, and then 12% increased lightning damage, which is only good for the handful of lightning damage characters that we have: Thor, Beta Ray Bill, Electro, etc. So 35% all elemental damage. It means any elemental damage, you know, Crystal, Inferno, Namor, anybody. Really, really good. And it synergizes with Storm because she does both lightning and cold damage. So it makes so much more sense. So this is great. I think this is awesome. Then all 5 of her skills. I don't want to get into it too much. I don't want to just sit here reading off all the skills, and it's actually cutting off her 5th skill, Weather's Wrath. But they did a really good job, I gotta say. They did a really good job for Storm. I'm trying to zoom out to see if that will... Yeah, so she gets 6 seconds of immunity now. She gets a continuous attack skill on Weather's Wrath. Again, you can't see it, but she gets continuous attacks, like Cable's 5th skill. She gets 60% all defense down for 10 seconds. She gets 60% cold and lightning resist for 10 seconds. So she's able to minus 60, or with Dr. Voodoo or someone like that, minus 84% cold, lightning, and all defense down. That's disgusting. So if she does her 4th skill or her 3rd skill on her striker, she'll be so good. So right away, there's a 40% chance that she's an amazing striker, even at tier 2 when you buy the uniform. She gets a guard hit. She still keeps her buff. So she had a buff before on her 3rd skill. Oh, sorry, on her 4th skill, 20/20 for all attack, all defense, and crit rate. Now it's a 30/30 buff. So they bumped up the buff by 10%. They did tweak some of her cooldowns. They increased her cooldown from 13 seconds to 16 seconds. But they reduced the cooldown on some of her other skills. Like Glacial Spike, her 2nd skill is now a 7-second cooldown instead of what it is on her old uniform, which is 14 seconds for Tornado Twister. They added Freeze, they added Silence, they added Paralysis that ignores immunity. Yo, check this out. Storm has a 3-second Paralysis that you can apply to world bosses that has a 3.5-second cooldown. So the boss only has a half second in between to do anything before you can paralyze them again. I think this Storm uniform is going to be nuts, but I'm actually very curious to see how good and what the playstyle will end up being of this uniform, because of the fact that we have, for the first time ever, we have conditional buffs, which could radically improve the character based on using the tier 3 skill. So it'll be really interesting to see how this actually plays out, because I don't know. Right, some characters, like recently we've seen some really bizarre playstyles, like characters like Black Bolt, where you have to basically insta cancel his 4th skill for the tier 3 and things like that. We've had characters like Hulk, right, Immortal Hulk. So we've had a bit of a shift in the playstyle of certain characters that I actually really enjoy. So I'm kind of curious if maybe I mean, call me crazy, but imagine if you canceled the tier 3 skill. Maybe the tier 3 skill doesn't do very good damage. So maybe you cancel it just to get the accumulation, and then you just go ham with skills 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That might be a bit anticlimactic, but it could make for a very unique way of playing. And for those people that were complaining that the tier 3 skill didn't look all that interesting, maybe it doesn't matter. What about her skills 1 to 5? If those animations are dope and you're going to be casting them all the time anyways, it's kind of a win-win. So I'm personally really excited for Storm's uniform. I'm really happy that there's an all uniform sale as well. But I'd like to hear from you. So hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you guys think of Storm's uniform, of the look of this, new mohawk with the earrings. And let me know what you guys think of the changes to her base kit, because this is a pretty radical buff. This is one of the largest buffs we've seen as far as number of changed skills, right? We've got 7 skills and passives being changed completely. They don't look alike at all from start to finish. So yeah, hit me up in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys tonight with Tier 3 Storm. Take care.